Good morning. Today we are visited by our shop owner, Jared. How are you this morning, Jared?
I'm good. I had some weird dreams last night, but I'm good.
Okay, maybe we'll get into that in another video, but
No.
there's a topic I'd like to talk about today. Sometimes when I get inquiry calls, um, the individual lets me know that an artist told them that their tattoo was unattainable, too small, or for any other reason just couldn't be done. What do you have to share on that topic of unattainable tattoos?
I think it's a complex topic because there's a lot of different opinions about it, and I think if somebody is stuck to one certain thing and they haven't tried something else and been able to see how it ages and see how it does, then a lot of times they're not speaking from experience. They're just speaking from usually the way they were taught. But that doesn't mean there's not some things that can't be tattooed, right? Because the skin, the skin is much different than a canvas or than paper. It's something that's changes, and I mean obviously it's living, and as we age, there's multiple things that can happen. Not necessarily weight gain, 'cause that would have to be very significant, but as a tattoo ages, it settles into the dermal layer, and there is a certain amount of, I don't want to call it spreading, but the dermal layer is more spongy, right? So there's a little bit of expansion. Let's say that expansion. So that has to be considered, and not going too deep is another issue or another topic, because that can cause that spread, right? The blowouts that you see when people have blowouts, it's from going too deep. It's from going directly into the dermal layer, and
Can you briefly explain what a blowout is?
it's it's when you go too deep. It's you go too deep, and it literally makes it looks like a capillary blowout, right? Like where the ink just spread out in the skin, like significantly, not just a little. So the line weight can change a lot,
Okay.
and the line can be a lot thick. It usually happens during outlines. It doesn't usually happen during shading or something like that.
Okay.
It's outlines they blow out.
So when you see that your crisp line is no longer crisp or maybe never healed in a crisp way, so blowouts can affect whether a tattoo is attainable. What about size?
I mean, the smaller you go, the less detail you can get. That's going to
Okay.
hold up over time, just period. So, and what that looks like is hard to tell, right? We'd have to have imagery up and talk about imagery and say, well, this could be done and that couldn't. But I think it's most important to just go to somebody who has been doing this for a long time, and who's actually tried different things and not just stuck to one thing, and they speak from hearsay and not experience. I think that happens more often than not, as people are speaking from hearsay.
Or
So
they're not interested in taking on that sort of subject and
I think a lot of people
send somebody away.
I think a lot of people are very fixed mindset, and they have something in their head, and that's just the way it is, and they don't there's no other options, if that makes sense.
Okay, so what you're saying is an experienced tattoo artist might be able to give you more insight on the tattoo that maybe several other artists have told you it's just not going to happen for you. Do you have anything else to add on the topic of tattoos that may be unattainable or difficult to attain?
No, but I mean, experienced artists should definitely be able to communicate all these things, but just because they're experienced also doesn't mean that they're going to be able to, because maybe they're one of those people who hasn't tried. So I think maybe obviously looking through their portfolio, and even asking, like, hey, have you done this, and just seeing what their experience is with it.
Well, excellent. I do think it's important for clients to understand that there is a portion of education that should be given in the tattoo community, and if you're not offered that type of education, well, then there is an artist for you, or at least somebody who can break it down in such a way that makes a little bit more sense. I do appreciate your time on this topic, and I hope you have a beautiful day.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.